This is News Channel 13, where the news comes first.
We are continuing to track strong storms across southern Colorado. Take a look at some of these pictures, the results of the storm that moved through, and we are going to keep on tracking the storms that moves off toward the east. I'll show you where it's headed next, coming up. Good afternoon, and thanks for joining us for News Channel 13 at 4. I'm Rana Novini.
And I'm Rob Damnon. Well, our big story today, severe storms across southern Colorado this afternoon. It looked like winter in some parts of the northern part of El Paso County. That's hail falling on this person's car. So much hail, it looked like winter. Rachel has more viewer pictures coming up in just a minute. We're going to show you a few here. We're also getting in viewer pictures on Facebook and sent to KRDO News at krdo.com. This picture comes courtesy of Cindy Kuhn. This is pictures of hail, quarter-size hail. I mean, that is just incredible. Just ice balls falling from the sky.
Yeah, crazy storm. Debbie Anderson sent this one, and you can see hail in the picture about the size of a dime in this one.
And it wasn't just hail. A viewer, Rich Corey, caught lightning before the hail started to fall.
We want to take you live look outside right now. This is Academy and Briargate. It really does look like a wintry scene. A lot of that hail on the road still. We're getting reports of cars getting stuck in some of this and sliding around, so definitely be careful if you're driving out there. We want to get you out to KRDO News Channel 13's Greg Miller. He is tracking the storm. He joins us now at Nevada and Garden of the Gods. How does it look out there now, Greg?
Robin Rana, quite frankly, it's awful. The good news in the last few minutes is that the sun has started to come out, and so some of the hail has melted. But take a look at this traffic. This is where everybody's been trying to get off of I-25, trying to get to a different location using a side road. Us ourselves, we were trying to get further north by taking by taking one of the side roads, Nevada Avenue. Could not do it. You're looking right now at some of the stalled traffic. I-25 in the distance. We're starting to see, it was in the distance of your shot a second ago. We started to see some traffic starting to make a little bit of progress right there, but you can still see some folks starting to get through now. And the biggest problem is you see along the side roads here, or not the side roads, but some of these exit ramps, all of this hail. If I can have my photographer here pan down to me really quick, you can see what's left of this. Just this ice at some point coming through here. It's starting to melt a little bit now, but as you can see, small hail, but a lot of it coming down, covering the roads, creating the major problems we have with traffic here. Again, things finally starting to clear up now that the sun's coming out, but it's going to be a long drive for folks if they're trying to get anywhere on 25 or any of the side roads here, especially here along Garden of the Gods. Reporting live in Colorado Springs this afternoon, Greg Miller, KRDO News Channel 13.
All right, thank you so much, Greg. Good news, sun is coming out, but that can make things slick when the ice starts to melt.
Yeah, and let's show you now a live look at Academy and Woodman. Beautiful blue sky with the low clouds there, but you can see all the hail on the ground. A slow go at Academy and Woodman for traffic. And some people, they had to navigate through this burst that just fell over the I-25 portion near Woodman and Academy.
Yeah, meteorologist Rachel Plath has been tracking these storms, and crazy, Rachel, how it hit some parts, but some areas just totally missed out on that hail. They certainly did, and the areas that got hit hard, and we are still tracking the repercussions of that storm moving through, even though the brunt of the storm is now well off to the east of northern Colorado Springs. Want to take you out, give you a live look at I-25 in Fillmore. If you are heading in this direction, just avoid travel in this area altogether. You can see how backed up northbound lanes of I-25 are. Crews actually had to close down I-25 near Woodman for a short period of time so that the plows could get out, get some of that hail off the road, but you'll notice that, yeah, there's still the backup, so it is going to be a slow go out there this evening. Dark clouds continue to blanket the Falcon skyline. 43 degrees the current temperature there, and here's a look from Powers and Woodman. Powers and Woodman, that area still covered in hail. You can see how slow the traffic is going. So as I mentioned, if you're heading to the north side of town, just know it is going to take you a while to get to your destination. So give yourself plenty of extra time. If you can just skip it this evening, a good idea to maybe just hunker down, stay inside, avoid that area altogether. The storm that we were talking about has now moved off toward the east, and you'll notice that it has weakened somewhat, enough so that the National Weather Service has allowed the severe thunderstorm warning that we have had in effect pretty much since about 2 o'clock this afternoon has allowed it to expire. We still have a flash flood warning, though, in effect for that green box that includes Falcon all the way into Colorado Springs, unrelated to any of our area burn scars. Usually when we talk about flash flood warnings here in Colorado Springs, we immediately think it has to do with the Waldo Canyon burn scar. Thankfully, this storm set up just to the east of the scar. Flash flooding along Highway 24, not an issue. However, around Colorado Springs into Falcon, it is and will continue to be a problem until 5:30. So look out for areas of standing water, especially now that the sun is starting to come back out. Will likely be melting quite a bit of that hail. We are expecting some ponding on the roads. I want to take you a bit farther toward the east. We have another severe thunderstorm warning to tell you about for Lincoln County, just to the north of Carville. That storm showing a bit of rotation. It is traveling off toward the north and east, moving between 15 and 25 miles per hour. 4:45 is when we expect that severe thunderstorm warning to expire. Taking you farther toward the south and east, we have another severe thunderstorm warning that is just off toward the east of Campo. Thankfully, though, we don't have any tornado warnings to report. We had one earlier this afternoon right toward the north of Branson. That storm has since dissipated, though, and no longer is a threat. We are not done with the storms just yet. Once these cells continue traveling off toward the east, we'll still be under the gun for strong storms through 7 o'clock. That area of yellow on your screen, severe thunderstorm watch that will stay in effect for Bent, Crowley, Kiowa counties, as well as El Paso, Pueblo counties until 7 o'clock this evening. So we have an active evening of weather ahead. I'll be using Skycast to let you know just how long these storms are going to stick around. And guys, we have more severe weather in the forecast for tomorrow. Just an active pattern here. We'll talk about all of that coming up. Stick around. We'll track it a little bit later in the newscast. Guys, back to you.
All right, let's take a live look now at Pueblo. Beautiful Steel City, a gorgeous shot. You can actually see the sky there and some clouds, but just a picturesque day right now in the city of Pueblo. That could change, as Rachel said, but the one thing I like about living in this state, and I'm sure one of the reasons why Rachel is so jazzed today, because there's just pockets of weather, and that's what we've seen thus far, even in our studios right now. The sun has peeked through. It's relatively nice here, but up north near Academy and Woodman is a whole different story.
Yeah, Pueblo's saying, "Hale, what are you talking about?" Take a look now at Academy and Briargate just to show you that difference. Man, we'll check in with Rachel in just a little bit. Well, a damaged retaining wall in Colorado Springs will be torn down. This is new information at 4 o'clock. This story started a few days ago when heavy rain caused part of the wall to collapse. The concrete bricks weigh nearly a ton each. Homes below the wall are still evacuated today, and now the city says the wall will be coming down completely. We'll have more on how they plan to do that coming up on News Channel 13 at 5 and 6 o'clock. One person has died after nearly 50 tornadoes ripped through the Great Plains last night. Oklahoma got the worst of the damage. We'll hear from a man who made it through the storm coming up in our next half hour. You can always follow the storm. Check on severe weather 24 hours a day with the networks of KRDO, including KRDO.com and KRDO News Radio 105.5 FM and 1240 AM.
Now to the James Holmes trial. Jurors in the Aurora Theater shooting trial got a close-up look at the arsenal James Holmes put together today. Prosecutors showed 2 of Holmes's Glock handguns and an MP-15 military-style rifle into evidence. Here's a live look at the trial currently going on. Prosecutors also showed jurors ammunition, a stun gun, a helmet, and other equipment investigators found after the July 2012 attack. Holmes' attorneys admit he is the gunman that night, but say he was insane at the time. He could face the death penalty if convicted. A Southern Colorado man who was released from prison after killing his mother is accused of drunk driving. Colorado Springs police say Charles Chuck Limbrick caused a serious crash on March 4th and tried to drive away. Police say he seriously injured another driver when he sideswiped her car. Limbrick is facing vehicular assault and DUI charges. We'll now know in a couple of weeks if Rick Santorum has another run for the White House in him. Santorum says he'll make an announcement on May 27th in his hometown of Butler, Pennsylvania. Santorum's first run for president was in 2012. He won the Iowa caucuses that year but lost the GOP nomination to Mitt Romney. A huge legal defeat for the National Security Agency today. A federal appeals court says the collection of Americans' phone records is not legal under the Patriot Act. The program gathers up phone records so the NSA can search for people allegedly linked to terror groups. Documents confirming the program's existence were first revealed in June of 2013. Former government contractor Edward Snowden leaked the information. The data collection will be continued for the time being.
Terrorists continue to use social media to spread their message. ISIS has been known to recruit members online. In Washington today, lawmakers are trying to figure out how to beat them at their own game. The examples keep piling up. A woman in Philadelphia busted by the FBI through her social media account. She told a known ISIS fighter that becoming a martyr would be amazing. And earlier this week, terror in Texas. The two men who attacked an event featuring cartoons of the Prophet Muhammad, both active on social media. 30-year-old Elton Simpson wrote in a Twitter message on April 10th, "Time is short." And on April 23rd, he wrote of the upcoming event in Texas. When will they ever learn?
Luckily, Sunday's attack didn't mature in the way that the attackers wanted to. But I think that is a harbinger of what we will see in the future.
There's evidence the Texas attackers were in contact with a mysterious ISIS recruiter known online only as Miski. Messages between Miski and Elton Simpson indicate Miski called for the attack. And 2 days later writes, one individual is able to put a whole nation onto its knees.
It's very difficult to separate sometimes people who are just talkers and doers.
Today, lawmakers tackled this issue. New Jersey Senator Cory Booker said what ISIS is doing online is much more persuasive than what the U.S. government is doing.
And the videos that they're doing are incredibly slick, fancy, and attractive. Look at their fancy memes compared to what we're not doing.
Experts say there's no real way for U.S. officials to monitor everything on social media, and the fear is they won't know who is serious about an attack until after the fact.
The agent for Tom Brady believes that the NFL's investigation into Deflategate is a sting operation. Brady's agent, Don Yee, said today that the investigation contains significant and tragic flaws. In the NFL findings, it claims those who worked for the Patriots deliberately deflated footballs during the AFC Championship game in January, and that Brady was at least generally aware of deflating the game balls that were used. He was also upset in the final report that kept most of Brady's testimony out and claims that the investigators didn't have much knowledge of professional football. It is also being reported that discipline handed down to the Patriots will happen in a matter of days. Now, there are some people who feel Tom Brady will be suspended for 4 games, but that remains to be seen.
So effectively, he's denying that he was involved still.
I think what he's upset about is that they already made assumptions before they talked to Tom Brady. Tom Brady's agent is upset that they made assumptions and already convicted him of being guilty versus listening to what he had to say.
Well, if you're still deciding on a Mother's Day gift, we have some ideas for you. A survey shows us what moms really want this year.
Plus, parts of the country are experiencing severe weather just like us. We're tracking the latest weather pattern.
And I want to tell you now that I-25 northbound between Woodman and Interquest has been closed again so that crews can clear the roads of all of the hail. You can see the backups there at Interquest, so please avoid this area. Hail continues to cover many area roads, really slowing things down. I'll track where the storm is dropping hail right now, coming up after the break.
We came in from the highway.
Really?
Yeah.
How bad was it across here?
It was bad. We couldn't see. I had to pull into a ditch and I had to hang my head out the window and try and drive in.
Really?
just to get right here.
Really?
So we've
About
been
how
here for a
long did it
while.
last?
It was quite a while. Well, to me, it seemed forever, but probably about 20 minutes, I think.
Oh, gotcha. What's
Yeah.
everybody been saying that's waiting here with you?
Southern Colorado, here's a live look at I-25 in Interquest. Northbound lanes of I-25 are closed now between Woodman and Interquest. They're closed again so that crews can get the hail off of the roads there.
Let's check in with Storm Tracker 13 meteorologist Rachel Plath, and the question on everyone's mind, what the hail?
I mean, that is definitely a question that is coming to my mind as we take a look at all of this video and pictures streaming into our Facebook page. Take a look at this. This is from I-25 and Woodman. Not only did we track hail, but a lot of rain, too, flooding that portion of the interstate, obviously greatly impacting travel. So as I've been mentioning throughout the show so far, if you can avoid this area, please do. Looked more like a December storm rolled through, but that's not snow. It's hail, and a lot of it covering the roads. We had major accumulations up on the north part of town. It came in, moved off toward the east, and left this behind for drivers to contend with. Now, thankfully, that storm has dissipated somewhat as far as its intensity is concerned, but it's still producing the potential for hail across eastern parts of El Paso County. We're still seeing a bit of that rain just to the north and east of Whitefield. The severe thunderstorm warning, though, for the time being, has been allowed to expire. We are only tracking a flash flood warning that will stay in effect until 5:30 for that green box on your screen. That includes Falcon south into Colorado Springs. This is because we're not only tracking some of the residual flooding from the rain, but now with the sun coming back out in spots, that's going to melt that hail, turn that into water, cause some ponding on the roads in that sense, too. We have another severe thunderstorm warning that will continue until 4:45. This is just off toward the north of Carville. Another very strong storm also located on that Elbert and Lincoln County line, so we'll have to continue to track those. We have another cell just off toward the east of Campo, also prompting the National Weather Service to issue a severe thunderstorm warning. And of course, we have a severe thunderstorm watch for all of that yellow shaded area until 7 o'clock this evening, so it is going to be very active here over the next couple of hours. We'll jump right into your Skycast. You'll see that these storms, they're going to stick around, really focusing their attention along and north of the Palmer Divide. We'll also see those storms getting organized as they push out toward the eastern plains through about 10 o'clock. We'll still have some storms across the plains to keep an eye on, and then check that out by 3 a.m. We're going to get another round of showers. They won't be intense or severe like what we're tracking outside right now. However, if you're sleeping with the windows open tonight, you'll definitely hear that rain picking up through early tomorrow morning. We'll have to monitor the burn scars very closely overnight and into early tomorrow morning, as these storms, while they won't produce a ton of hail, could produce quite a bit of rain by early tomorrow morning. 7 o'clock, give yourself some extra time, because as you're hitting the roads heading into school and work early tomorrow morning, we're likely going to have another sloppy drive for your Friday commute. By lunchtime, we are going to keep the showers around, but with the addition of daytime heating, we are expecting these storms to pick up a bit of steam. We will have the potential to get a few more strong storms as we take you through tomorrow afternoon into the evening, particularly out across the plains where you can see that yellow and orange shading showing up on Skycast. Tomorrow, flooding as well as hail and gusty winds are not out of the question, and we cannot rule out the potential for an isolated tornado either, so another active day to round out the work week. Temperature-wise tonight, we're going to be dropping into the 40s across southern Colorado. High temperatures tomorrow afternoon, they are going to be cool, with highs only getting into the 50s and 60s for most. And you can thank the clouds and the storms starting up a bit earlier tomorrow for the cool temperatures. So not a great day to be planning to spend a lot of time outside, unfortunately. Colorado Springs, your 7-day forecast is going to keep those storms right in place as we take you through the weekend and into early next week. Unfortunately for Mom, we are tracking storms on Sunday, some of which could become strong to severe. So if you have outdoor plans on Sunday, plan something else, because you're not going to want to spend a lot of time outside. 45 degrees is all we're going to get to on Sunday, so it is going to be chilly besides the storms. 53 degrees on Monday, with 60s finally returning by the middle of next week. In Pueblo tomorrow, 65 degrees, 60s expected on Saturday. We drop it into the 50s, so unseasonably cool for this time of year for your Sunday. We'll keep the 50s around through Monday, 60s, then 70s Tuesday into Wednesday. Thursday, we'll keep the 70s in place. Looks to be a bit quieter next week so we can finally catch our breath. It seems like we have been going on and on and on about these storms this week. That's all we've really had out there. Much more storms than sunshine, that's for sure. Canyon City, 63 degrees tomorrow, 61 on Saturday, 50 Sunday into Monday with 60s and 70s returning by the middle to end of next week. Teller County, look at this. We're not just putting the thunderstorm icon in the forecast, but instead we are going to see the potential for snow, and we may even have some accumulating snow up across some of the higher elevations as this next system begins to inch its way across Colorado beginning tomorrow. It'll be directly overhead Saturday, begin to move out Sunday. We'll still feel the effects of it. We're going to keep a daily chance for at least some storms in Teller County through the next 7 days. So my goodness, though, it was an active day out there today. We had that nice storm that moved right over Colorado Springs as a lot of people were on the roads, and some of those pictures, I mean, it looks like the middle of January rather than May. So I mean,
A crazy day.
gotta love this time of year in this state.
Not good for driving, though.
No, not at all. So please be careful. Avoid northern Colorado Springs if you can, because obviously nobody's getting anywhere very quickly up there right now.
Insurance agents are going to be pretty busy the next couple of weeks, I would assume.
Busy and happy, I would imagine.
Yeah, hopefully
Yikes.
not too many cars got damaged, but judging by how much hail we saw, it's inevitable.
Well, and not only to the cars, but roofs. It seems like people are just getting their roofs fixed from the last time we had a big hailstorm.
Which was about a year ago around this time.
Exactly, and now here we go again. Colorado, come on,
Gotta
Mother
love
Nature.
Colorado.
Yeah.
Thanks for
You
Thanks,
bet.
Rachel.
The plan to crack down on repeat DUIs has passed. Coming up next, we speak to people whose lives have changed because of drunk drivers.
Plus, the CC Tiger stopped by our studios today. We'll tell you why.
State lawmakers wrapped up this year's legislative session well before the midnight deadline.
They passed a plan to crack down on repeat drunk drivers, making the fourth conviction a felony. It's now headed to Governor Hickenlooper's desk to be signed into law. KRDO News Channel 13's Emily Allen spoke to those whose lives changed forever because of DUIs.
He didn't survive the event were the exact words, and it's like it just kind of rings in my head.
Jeannie Highland lost a piece of her heart
He was a sergeant in my platoon.
to a drunk driver.
We didn't expect it to be Craig's turn that night. You know, we never expected to be anybody in our family's turn. We all think it's not going to happen to us. but it did.
Her husband Craig was hit by a drunk driver at this Colorado Springs intersection in 2008. The man was on probation for another DUI when he hit Craig.
It was a rough road to hoe for quite a while. It still is some days. I mean, even this morning I stood, there's still mornings I wake up and think it's all just going to be a bad dream, and he's really going to be next to me this morning.
She says a new bill cracking down on DUIs is a step in the right direction.
I was very happy. I actually was tearful.
This bill lawmakers passed makes this fourth DUI a felony, punishable by up to 6 years in prison and a hefty fine.
You put stiffer penalties and stiffer laws in place, it makes you think twice.
Vaughn Luttrell killed a woman behind the wheel. He was driving drunk 10 months after he blew his first DUI.
I hit a lady in the side of her door, flush, and she died instantly. Her passenger was in a coma for 30 days, and her son would never see his mom again.
He says it's a tough punishment, but it's necessary.
It wasn't until I found myself sitting with a 10-year prison sentence in Department of Corrections that you start to think, wow, this is real, this is serious. I've just killed somebody drinking and driving. And, at that point, the devastation is over.
He knows killing someone's loved one will sober up a drunk driver. In Colorado Springs, Emily Allen Cardio, News Channel 13.
If Governor Hickenlooper signs the bill into law, there will be only 4 states that don't have felony DUI penalties.
We're told to eat our fruits and veggies, but you may get hungry quicker after eating a healthy snack. Dr. John is coming up to explain.
Welcome back. We continue to track the severe weather here in southern Colorado. Here's a live look at I-25 in Interquest, where the southbound lane is kind of at a snail's pace right now. Northbound lane moving pretty quickly. We did have reports that the southbound lane was closed between Interquest and Woodman, and we'll continue to track that situation for you.
Yeah, we have a picture to show you here. This is the northbound on-ramp for I-25 coming from Woodman. You could see a lot of flooding on the roads, as Rachel mentioned. As that hail starts to melt, we're going to see ponding on the roads there. It looks like a couple of cars are stuck in that ponding in the hail. Rachel Plath is in the Weather Center right now getting the latest conditions. She'll join us in just a few minutes. People in Pueblo will soon get a taste of Chicago.
Our partners at the Pueblo Chieftain report that construction